showtime.
OnlySlabs.
Hey there, comic book friends and fiends. It's Rob here in front of the Great Wall of Comics. It's our holiday special. Who's ours? Well, it's me and this guy, Chris the Comic Vet. How you doing there, buddy?
Good. Happy holidays, Rob.
Happy holidays to you. I hope that you've been busy helping Santa pack that sleigh there up near the North Pole, making sure that the polar bears leave him alone.
Yeah, they're a fickle bunch, and the reindeer don't listen. But here we are.
Just as long as they don't get mixed in with the moose.
Yes. Well, they're a little bit more slim and trim, but yeah.
This is true. Anyways, so this is our OnlySlabs Christmas special, our top 10 slab pickups for 2023. So we're going to do this today as our holiday special. We each went through our acquisitions for the year and chose our top 10 slab comic books. Now, it didn't necessarily mean that they were the most expensive. Didn't necessarily mean they were the biggest keys. So top 10 to us for what we got. I don't know about you, Chris. This was extremely difficult.
so in years prior, everyone, I managed to keep up with Rob in the amount of slab books that we both would acquire. This year, I decided just to trail off and take it easy. And Rob said, I'm going into fifth gear. So my 10 books were, I feel, considerably easier, a little bit more heartfelt to pick out. But Rob, like you got well over 100 slabs this year, man.
Yeah, well, actually, believe it or not, I actually picked up less slabs this year than the year prior, according to my inventory system.
Wow.
Now, whether or not those slabs were pickups or whether I should say I added fewer slabs to the collection because because some of them could have been books that were added as raw books and then were graded that year.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, there was 123.
So just a fair warning, what Rob just mentioned, there's a case for one or two of slabs for myself, ones that I had cleaned and pressed, and then slabs. So they're new to my slab collection.
Right. Anyways, before we do that, I want to make sure we thank our channel members who make this all possible. All you goons and henchmen who make all this, your monthly contribution that goes to Comics Curing Cancer event to support all those efforts. Thank you guys all so much. Those Goon Squad members, Son of a Bruce, Stephen C., Legion of Comics, DJ Lynx, Dr. Von Hoots Comics from the Spiral Dimension, Dale of Suspense, The Comic Viking, The Comic Vet, Justin Birch Letters, Trev the Shipping Guru, Austin LeMay, Collecting with Thurs, Mad Spidey, Brian LCS, Chuck Hensey, Comicverse, Dead Man, Anachronic Comics, Colossus Collector, My Nerdy Collection, Daymares, The Henchman, Travis Vick, Actual Dracula, Jack B. Comics, PSN Green Hulkster, Digger Jim 720, Blue Hellion Comics, Comic Ozzy, Flo Dameron, Beckerman, Comics by the Bay, Sector 2815, The Real James Willie, Tate Prime, Chaos and Comics, Marty Aleko, Gary B. The Casual Comic Guy, Circumstances, Remy Q Studios, Comic Journey, Matt 268, Comics with Murdoch, Comic Man, Andy, Cup of Comics, Brick Family 54 Comics, Switch Comics, Ben Parker Comics, Seth 11, Hulk Collector 82, Izzyverse NYC, A Comic Book Worm, El Green Machine, Lone Eagle, Gene Below, Triple G Comics, Noggin Comics, Aggressively Relaxing, Cat Fan Comics, Man Collectible Inc., KBD, Fantastic Comics and Art, Lisa Noble, Evils Comics, Mon Comics, Milt Miller, JG Wellboard, Papa Wheelie, Old Man Collectibles, Team Ohana, and S. Vaughn 82. Thank you guys all so much. It means a lot.
I was going to say, Rob, my earpiece fell out. Would you mind repeating like the last 20 people again?
Yeah, absolutely. So 100% of this channel revenue goes to the Comics Curing Cancer event. So guys, join it if you're not a member. Would appreciate it. Membership, the super chats during the live, you can do super chats here during this premiere. You can also do the super thanks. We appreciate it. It all goes to support Comics Curing Cancer. Last thing, if you do, it won't be there in time for Christmas, but if you're not seeing anybody till late, but you still need a Christmas gift, don't forget Fat Stax merch. again, you get that Comics Curing Cancer merch gear, as well as Fat Stax and OnlySlabs gear, and all those proceeds also go to benefit the Comics Curing Cancer event. All right, Chris, let's do this. I'm going to let you show the
Okay.
first as my co-host. Again, it's not a competition.
Oh no, there's no. This is not a competition. There's no way I can run with Rob for this year with some of the stuff he's picked up. But so my better half knows that I am a big DC versus Vampires fan. And what I've decided to do is to start that 1 to 12 in just a cover A in the slab collection. This is DC versus Vampires issue number 1 in a very nice CGC 9.8. Again, I loved this miniseries by James Tynion IV. It was so good. I talked about it for a long, long time. And so, like I mentioned, I decided to try to put together a run of issue 1 to 12 in just the normal A covers because, Rob, as you know, there were tons and tons of variants for each issue that came out. And the series was so good, it actually created a spin-off series within the series actually happening. So, DC versus Vampires, issue number 1, CGC 9.8. Rob,
who's the cover artist on that one?
Otto Schmidt. Otto Schmidt did the cover and art. His James Tynion IV and Matthew Rosenberg handled some of the story, but it was a Tynion idea. I actually spoke to Tynion about it.
Oh, cool. All right. So for me, my number 10 book, because we're going up, right? We're building up to.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yes.
My number 10 book, Iron Man 55.
Oh my God. This is number 10?
Number 10, yeah. Iron Man 55. I picked this up raw this year at San Jose Con. It was part of a bundle. I bundled it along with Avengers 57 and a couple of He-Man books and some Shogun Warriors and some other stuff, and managed to get this for a song. The guy who sold it to me, actually, he saw what it came back as CGC after clean and press, and was kind of irked with himself because he thought it was like a 4.0. I said, well, clean and press, it does wonders sometimes. So there you go. Yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
So everyone that's watching, this is one of the biggest keys in Marvel history for the amount of first appearances in this. Rob, would you mind reading us what's on the right side of that blue label?
Absolutely. It is the first appearance of Thanos. First appearance of Mentor, first appearance of Drax the Destroyer, first appearance of Star Fox, Kronos, and the Blood Brothers. So yeah, it's got a handful of first appearances in there.
Yeah, so I know everyone is like, well, why isn't Thanos on the cover there? Look, we got the Blood Brothers, but we have Drax on there as well, sporting a
Drax
cape
the
too,
Destroyer,
right?
baby, yeah.
That's I get a lot of people would want Thanos on there, but that is a hell of a book. Okay, so I don't know how I'd follow. Like, I feel like this is.
Oh, it's only gonna get worse, Chris. So don't even try to worry.
This is weak following up. That would be like a top 3 for anyone else on the planet. Anyways, now Rob and I crossed paths earlier this year in Charlotte for Heroes Con. I went in there with a budget, and I actually managed to get a book that's important to me on the cheap. I think I only paid $30 for this 9.8. Now, this book did have some value, but it has free fallen to the point where basically it's worth the cost of grading. However, for $30, it's still cheaper than the cost of grading. And but it's a book
And you still like it.
Yeah, of course. I love it because, Rob, you know how I feel about Something is Killing the Children, but this is the 8th printing of issue number 1. The book, the last printing of Something is Killing the Children, issue number 1. And like I said, I managed to get it for $30. I think they had a $50 price tag on it. And I said, hey, man, I'll give you $30 for that Something's Killing the Children, issue number 1 there. And then when he reached for it, there was 2 more copies behind it. So I guess he had no problem giving one up for less than cost. But
I gotta
Yeah,
imagine that by the time the eighth, because I've seen that eighth printing so much, they
oh
must have
yeah,
really, really printed the heck out of that one.
yeah.
And so, yeah, it was by that point the market was.
So yeah, it's yeah. This actually has more printings than all the other printings combined, including the first printing. So yeah, it was basically meant to be a giveaway book if you bought Berserker #1. Uh,
Oh,
so if you picked up a Berserker, like
I
one of the
remember
special
that now.
Berserkers, but if you picked up Berserker #1 from Boom Studios, the book by Keanu Reeves, this was supposed to be tossed in as well, as I believe as a thank you. So that's how I got my original copy. But um, as you know, Rob, I am a big Erica Slaughter fan, so
Mhm.
I'm happy to have this in a 9/8 in
Yeah,
my collection, and that's 2 tiny books in a row. But yeah, the first
awesome.
appearance of Erica Slaughter.
Ah, awesome. All right. So number 9 for me is going to be my lone. Believe it or not, it's going to be my lone DC book.
Okay.
To make the top to make. No, that's not true. There's 2 DC books in the stack. I'm sorry, I forgot. But this one, um, I didn't actually think I would ever acquire this book. And then the pricing was such that I on a copy that presents one of, I couldn't say no.
Oh,
Flash
my.
123 was my favorite of all Flash covers because as people know, I'm a big fan of the Jay Garrick costume. I
Mhm.
love Jay Garrick as a costume character. I can't say I like him as a character because I've actually never read a goddamn Flash book.
Mhm.
But this book, of course, huge in the implications in that it launches the multiverse.
Yep.
This is the book that put that both Marvel, DC, and everybody else who's
Changes
ever
everything.
had,
Yeah.
yeah, introduced the concept of a multiverse to people, and that is, of course, also allows them to bring back these golden age characters back into their publications. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
that's number 9 there.
yeah, one of the
First
most
Golden
important
Age
books
Flash,
ever made.
first Golden Age Flash and the Silver Age, origin of both, origin of both. Why is this? Oh, it tells the origin of both the Golden Age and Silver Age Flash. Then it's the first mention of Earth 2, first Silver Age Shade, Thinker and Fiddler appearance. Yeah.
Big time key. Big time key. And so important. Great book.
All right, sir.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with my first Marvel book because I've gone DC, Indie, and now
Mm-hmm.
Marvel book. So again, back to Heroes Con. I went around and, like a lot of other people that were at the show, I got some autographs, and I decided, okay, I'm going to get one book slabbed on site, or I should say, like it'll be
Submit
one.
it.
Correct. Thank you. And I actually went over to where David Nakayama was sitting,
Mm.
and beside David Nakayama was Miko Soyan.
Yeah, over
And
at the
Soyan,
Unknown booth.
that's correct. And Miko Soyan last year or earlier this year did one of my favorite Spider-Verse covers of all time. And I had the normal trade dress and a Virgin variant that I picked up from a mystery box. So I decided to bring Spider-Man #1 with me. And I got this Spider-Man #1 featuring the Spider-Verse characters signed by Miko Soyan. As you can see, Miko signed it perfectly through the middle there. I know Rob and I are about signature placement, but you can see all the Spider-Verse characters there. You got Punk, Miles, Noir,
Or yeah, 2099,
Gwen,
Spider Pig or
yeah,
Spider Ham.
Spider-Ham,
Spider Pig is Simpsons.
and and I forget this kid. I think that might be Ariana or Arana. That's right there. And of course, Peter in the middle. And the interesting thing is, when Miko went to sign this, his silver Sharpie didn't work. So it was like, gasp! Oh no! But he went back over it so you could see the beginning of the M there.
Mm.
He corrected it perfectly. And often when people go to sign over their name they usually miss, but Miko did not. And it's a great signature. He has a very cool autograph.
I'm sorry
Oh,
for the
yeah.
noise. My
Oh, that's
my
okay.
my dog is walking by, pulling the
Oh.
leash behind. They're getting ready to leave, and it's like the leash is getting drug on the hardwood floor behind the dog.
That's okay, Mary. So yeah, Spider-Man #1, featuring the Spider-Verse characters, and it's a Nerd Pharmaceuticals Virgin Baron
Never
exclusive.
heard of that. There you go.
Yeah, so yeah, that's my third, or I guess eighth, in eighth place.
Right. No, that should be that would be your seventh book, or number 7.
10, 9, 8.
Oh, you're right. I can't. Never mind.
That's okay.
I'm counting down weird. Never mind. All right. Well, my number 8 book,
Yes.
the most recent of my acquisitions here.
Oh no.
Um,
Oh no, I'm so jealous. Oh,
Fantastic Four number 52, a first appearance of the Black Panther. Um, yeah, this was
yeah.
this one was one I've been tracking down for a while this year, probably for a better part of 7 months. I had it fixated in my head that I really wanted to get like a 5.0 grade, because that's where I felt the nexus was. I felt that I could get a 5.0 for roughly about $500. And beyond that, when you started dropping down, the pricing didn't drop down that much. But when you started going pretty much above it, it really started escalating,
Okay.
right? And so I targeted a 5, and I was about to give up. I almost was pulled the trigger on a 4 or 5. But that person didn't want to come down far enough for me to justify going down. And then I happened to just stumble across eBay, an auction that was scheduled to end in 3 days, but it was going to end on a Thursday night at like 11 p.m. Pacific, and put it on my radar. And I managed to pick this up for $525.
Incredible.
So I was
Wow.
super happy. Got the price I'd want to pay. Got a little bit higher grade in an off-white to white pages. Stanley Jack Kirby.
Yeah. Now, everyone, you may not know, but Rob and I have been talking about this book for almost 6 months. It feels like, Rob, that you and
Yeah.
I have been talking about T'Challa's first appearance. And obviously, T'Challa is important to both of us. And we know that T'Challa is an incredible character. And we both respect what Marvel Comics,
Historically.
and what Marvel has done with the character to make him the most intelligent person in Marvel Comics. So, yeah, he's just so special. So, Rob, I'm hoping next year when we do it this time that I have a copy in my hand, but it will probably be in the #1 spot because I just love T'Challa. So this originally is a book that I won from Torpedo Comics in a mystery box. This year, I decided to pull the trigger, and I had it cleaned and pressed and had it submitted, and it came back, and I'm actually pretty happy with the grade. I don't know what it's worth anymore, because I'm sure, like every other book in the last 6 months, it's cooled down a bit. But this is my second DC title. This is DC Comics Presents issue number 26.
Oh my.
The first appearance of the new Teen Titans.
Yes, several first appearances there. That's a book I picked up this year as well. And God, I want to say in a 9.4, it's probably about $200, $300, something in that range, because I think that mine's a 9.2 newsstand, and I think it's like around $200 or so right now. But amazing book.
Oh, and again, another important book to the history of comics in general, because the New Teen Titans went on to become a high-selling book for DC Comics. And one of the final times that DC and Marvel crossed over, it was the New Teen Titans that crossed over with the X-Men in the late 80s when they did that crossover. But yeah, this is a Marv Wolfman and Jim Starlin offering, but the first appearance of the New Teen Titans in preview by Marv Wolfman and George Perez, and the first appearance of Raven, Cyborg, and Starfire. So yeah, a pretty cool book and pretty cool to the history of DC Comics. And just a heads up, if you're interested in a Daisy 840, this is also the comic for you.
I'm trying to find it real quick.
But the only drawback is that it is, in fact, an off-white to white, but it is from 1980. So the book is
Yeah,
43 years old.
it does not kill you to think that. So
Yeah.
in a 9.4, 9.4 is the most common grade sold, apparently.
Okay.
It is currently last sale as of this recording when we're doing this, $225.
Okay. For a
So
newsie?
it's actually that is not. Let's go to the. I don't know if there's a big difference, but that's not that one. I want.
Probably not.
I started to select Mark Jewelers by mistake. I don't want that. I want newsstand. Oh my goodness, come on. There it starts to load. Why it's slower than molasses in January. Or syrup and heist. All right, 9.4, $300.
Oh.
So yeah, you get about a $75 bump there with the newsstand versus the direct.
Wow, nice. I
There you
wasn't
go.
expecting you to say that. I thought you'd say like 25. Yeah. All right, Rob, what do you got?
All right, so this is the number 7. As we're counting down here.
Yes.
This is a book that brings up lots of controversy. Lots of conversations are had about it. We had a conversation recently on your show about it. First is first, baby. The first appearance of Wolverine, your Canadian brother.
Holy cow! Yeah. Yes. Yes.
So, there we go. Now we can go in cameo, and that's fine. I understand. I agree. It's a cameo appearance. If I remove Wolverine from this book, it does not fundamentally change the story. So it's a cameo appearance, but it's still the first appearance. That's regardless. I'm not saying it should be the big money book. Hulk 181 should be the big money book. He's key throughout the story. He's on the cover. There's a lot to be said for it, but it doesn't diminish the fact that this is the first appearance of Wolverine.
And the trilogy is such a good read too, that like the 180, 181, and 182, where Wolverine in 182 literally is, if you want to define cameo, that's what that one is. But now Rob, how did you manage to get your hands on that particular issue?
I think that this was a short boxed pickup.
Okay.
I honestly don't remember. I know it was an online purchase where I stumbled across it, and the price on it was such. I said, "Wow, that seems low. Let me go take a look." And I looked it up, and sure enough, it was about $100 under the FMV at the time. And so I said, "All right, well, let me go ahead and pull the trigger." And there we are.
Very nice.
All right, Christopher.
Okay.
Number 6.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6. This is by far my favorite J. Scott Campbell cover of all time. Now that's something to say, because like now that I think about it, I wish that he did some serious interior work, because then I would put him on my Mount Rushmore of Spider-Man artists. Now, if I do a Mount Rushmore of cover Spider-Man artists, he would be there, at least on mine.
More of my Mount Rushmore of Mary Jane artists, but
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because first and foremost, on Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, issue number 1, this J. Scott Campbell variant, is and MJ is just so special on this cover. I love this cover. Like, I hope to get this in one of those signed prints. I know that they're out there in existence, and they are not cheap, and neither is this book. But let me tell you, if you read Renew Your Vows, or if you collected Renew Your Vows, you know that this and the bridal cover is one of the more valuable editions to pick up. but this is a book that I picked up the day it was released. And this year, when I submitted that new Teen Titans first appearance, I actually submitted this book to get cleaned and pressed as well. So obviously my fingers were crossed for 9.8, but the fact it came back at 9.6, pardon me, is perfectly fine. And just because I wanted this book encapsulated, just from fear that if I don't get it slabbed up, it's going to end up doing more damage, just by sitting in a bag and backer board. But yeah, this, I know that J. Scott Campbell has the coffee cup cover, and that one is gorgeous as well. But for me, it's this one. Yeah, for me, this is the one because they're both happy. And, and Rob, you know what they've been doing to Pete and MJ lately. So the fact that they have them happy here and truly in love, and I know how you feel about MJ, but this is the power couple for me. And the fact that they're in this pose is really damn cool.
Yeah, and this the vol, at least vol, I don't remember volume 1 as much, but I know the volume 2 I just thought was amazing.
Yeah.
And so just it was what I wanted, which is why I got so much hope for Ultimate.
Yeah. Yeah, for Pete and MJ. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number 6. 10, 9, 8,
Yep.
7,
Yep. 6.
6.
All right,
Rob, what do you got?
Number 6. Marvel Spotlight number 5. Banger after banger after banger. Where are we going from here? First appearance of Ghost Rider, Marvel Spotlight number 5. A book that I had, when I got on my kick this summer of deciding that I was going big game hunting. I was one of those books I was out scouring about, and saw this book posted. Was it this? I think I was actually looking at a different book. The next book, actually, I'll show you. I was looking for at the time, and I happened to see it in a photo along with this book and some others that Nerdy Girl was getting ready to sell.
Okay.
And so I reached out to her and I said, hey, I'm interested in this book, but while we're there, let's also talk about this Marvel Spotlight 5. And so we went back and forth on some pricing until, we came to an agreement on a price for the 2 books. And it was great, very smooth, awesome transaction, well packed. She's been on our show a couple times and helped me secure 2 books that are on my top 10 list this year. So
very cool.
There you go.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, Rob, I do not have this book. Now, I did read a little bit of Ghost Rider in my youth, but would you mind reading us what's on the right side of that blue label, my man?
The origin and first appearance of Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze. First appearance of Roxanne Simpson.
Oh,
Bet you forgot about Roxanne.
Yeah. So if you're a Roxanne Simpson collector, heads up, her first appearance is going to be pricey.
Yeah. Now this is one of those ones that later on I did another video when I picked up Marvel Spotlight 6, the second appearance.
Yep.
Second appearance of Ghost Rider. I got like 8.5 for like $200 something for less than $300. It's insane the difference between the first and second. Actually, I think Ghost Rider number 1, which I think is the 3rd or 4th appearance, is actually is the second most valuable book in the runs there. But that's a book I'm now is on my list to get, just because I have this one. I might as well get the first solo appearance as well, right? So
there's a lot of Ghost Rider collectors out there. Let's be honest. Like, there's been a lot of Ghost Rider books that's shown up on OnlySlabs over the years that we've been doing this. So Rob mentioned earlier, like an off time on eBay, you can be successful. Well, late this year, I had one of those moments myself. I forget if it was like a Thursday night around 10 o'clock or something. I just happened to be, hey, let's just put in CGC ending soonest on eBay and see what happens. Well, I saw something and it was pretty damn affordable, at least for me. So I pulled the trigger. And, when I look at this book, I think of Comic Man Andy. But this is Grimm issue number 6, signed by McGill Mercado in a Virgin variant in a 9.9.
Oh my God! No, no! Shut the front door. No way. Seriously? Shut the front door. Shut the front door.
So yeah, I am Rob, as you know, hanging out every Wednesday. I pick up Grimm every month by Stephanie Phillips, and I really enjoy it. And so when I saw this price, I was just like, okay, I'll put in a number. Like I'll take the max bid, and no one else freaking bid on it. And I'm like counting down the seconds, like, come on, baby, come on. Sure enough, there it was. So this is again a Grimm number 6 in a Virgin variant, signed by McGill Mercado, who has again a cool autograph.
Yeah, and great placement there.
Yep. So yeah, signed right there in red to match her scythe. But yeah, it's a Carnivore Comics edition. Again, Stephanie Phillips is a writer, and Flaviano does the art. But yeah, to have a 9.9 in a series that I really enjoy, it's pretty damn special. So yeah.
Awesome. All right. Number 5 for me, sir. I'm cheating. It's actually $2. I'm going to put them together.
Oh, no.
Because they're kind of linked. You can't have one without the other.
God, Peter, hit me!
Yeah.
Ow!
I mean, you can't have one without the other.
Oh,
right?
Man.
So yeah. This was this one here. This was the book that I was hunting, that I picked up off of Nerdy Girl as well when I stumbled across the MS. This one I had picked up. I don't even remember how I picked up this one. It's just been that kind of year that I'm not even like thinking of remembering on some of this stuff. But yeah, so these were books that actually I almost bought the pair of them at Heroes. This was I was looking at the pair of these at Heroes at a vendor and was about to pull the trigger on them when I said, well, let me go walk around the corner and think. And that's when I found the next book that I'm going to show.
Yeah, I remember.
So this is my number 5. We'll combine them together here. I hate to deprive you, but I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it. I'll read it on both of them if you don't mind, Chris.
Yes, go right ahead.
First full appearance of Galactus, second appearance of the... Oh, wait a second. Let me go. First, 48.
Got them backwards, Rob.
First appearance of the Silver Surfer and Galactus in cameo on the last page. Then you have the first appearance of Galactus, full appearance of Galactus, second appearance of the Silver Surfer, first Silver Surfer and Galactus cover. So
now, Rob, if you were to pick between the two, which cover do you prefer?
Oh, I prefer 49 all day, twice on Sunday.
Okay.
The toga party, like, the Greek life wasn't really something I was big into in college. So, the fact that they're all out here having a toga party under the twilight sun is just not,
now,
it's not as cool as the menacing Doomsday and Surfer and the Fantastic Four running for their lives and stuff. I mean, that's incredible, but this is a fraction of the cost of this book.
Pure Kirby goodness, and what great storytelling through the Fantastic Four during those times, from 40 right up to about 55. Just fantastic, pure Stan Lee.
I think that next year I'm going to have to look to upgrade this book if prices stay down, just because, and it's going to be tough because there's a lot of hype obviously with Fantastic Four right now.
Yes,
so it's really not the best time to go looking for these books. But I'll keep my eye out, and if I get the opportunity to upgrade at a fair price, I may. Otherwise, I'll wait for a while and come back to it, just because while I don't have a problem with the 3.5. It just doesn't present as nice as I would like. There's this big tear over here that's kind of showing off, which just kind of drives me bonkers. But anyway, so yeah, that's number 5, a twofer.
Okay. So late last year, CGC was accepting submissions for arguably the biggest name in comics for an autograph signing that he does once every 2 or 3 years. And I know he did the first round in December of 2022 and then returned in January 2023 to do the second round. My Amazing Spider-Man 303 was in the second round, so I had to wait longer to get my book back from Todd McFarlane than a lot of other people did. But I submitted a slabbed copy of the Amazing Spider-Man 303 in a 9.8, hoping that if they cracked it, it wouldn't lose a grade. So Rob and I spoke about this late last year, and Rob's like, Chris, just spend the $5, send the book to them, let them do it. So at least it's protected on its way down to Florida. And so this book came back in the 9.8. Thank goodness. This is Amazing Spider-Man issue 303, signed by Todd McFarlane in white. But I unfortunately got the T McFarlane signature, which is fine because I have the Spider-Man #1 signed with the full signature or full autograph that he does. But I got the custom label for an extra couple bucks, whatever it was, just to let it work. And I'm glad that they actually moved the scroll over from the hologram, that it didn't get covered up. Yeah. But I like this cover. I went with this cover because it was probably, of the early McFarlane books, this is the one that had the first big price drop when it came to value. So $298 being his first ASM is expensive. $299, the first cameo Venom, is very expensive. $300 is through the roof. 301, the white variant copy of 300, has
first homage of 300.
Right. And then 302 is also a pricey book as well. But this is the first one where it's a little bit more affordable. So I actually ended up picking it up for like, I think $200 Canadian, something like that, on a sale day. And it turned out great. The signature placement was really, really good because it's so busy with Silver Sable and the Sandman and Peter taking off with all the webbing in his hand. I like the fact there's so much spaghetti webbing on the cover here. So other than going across the trade dress, I thought it was a pretty good signature placement, all things considering.
I love the little 303s of down in the bottom where the little art box.
For the direct editions. Yeah. You
cool.
can tell Todd was having some fun in those days with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Before the industry killed his soul and forced him to go to Image.
That's great. All right. Before I do my number 4 book, I'll remind everybody you're watching the top 10 year in review Christmas holiday special here on OnlySlabs. Please, if you're enjoying this thus far, please hit the thumbs up button. It helps us get more channel revenue for the algorithms, et cetera, and all that channel revenue goes to Comix Curing Cancer, the event, to help us support that and everything that goes on with that. So thank you very much. And if you've never seen OnlySlabs before, well, make sure you hit that subscription or notification bell. Make sure you check us out every Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific, 2:30 p.m. Eastern, as Chris and I normally go live and are joined by a member of the comic book community as they show off books that are special in their collection. All right. So the number 4 book for me on this, I had mentioned that this is the book that I thought I was picking up 48 and 40. I might pick up 48 and 49 at Heroes Con. I walked around the corner and I spotted a book that I had famously said, I have no desire to get this book. I don't. And
boy.
Then I started looking at it. I started getting in key mode. I mean, at this point in time at Heroes, by the time I picked this up, I had picked up some bangers and I was just like, I can't be stopped. I'm on fire, and managed to work a deal on a raw copy of this book. Was happy to grab it, take it home, send it off eventually to get cleaned and pressed. And the biggest thing is there's a bunch of color breaking creases on it, but it presents well enough. Ladies and gentlemen, Giant Size X-Men #1.
Oh, that's so nice. Oh my goodness.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Yeah, so this of course, for so many of Gen X, this is their X-Men that we grew up on, on cartoons, everything else. I'm not excluded from that. I did watch them. I've never been a huge X-Men fan,
Yeah.
which I always say that, oh, I don't care. But I recognize the importance of the book, and that, for some people, it's the most important X-Men book.
Yeah.
I still say that the very first X-Men book is more important because you never get this one if you don't have the other one.
Mhm.
But that's the only reason.
Yeah. Well, this is the book that saved the franchise,
Yes.
in my opinion. Now, everyone, Rob picked this up at Heroes Con, like he mentioned. And I can remember I was walking around doing a live stream, and shortly or during that process, I bumped into Rob, and Rob said, "Hey, you want to see what I got?" And he showed a couple books, and at the bottom of the box, because Rob was carrying them in a box, was this one. And I just got to say, I'm 6'1". It took every bit of strength I had not to fall down 6 feet and 1 inch when he showed me that book. I did not expect this book for him to say, "Chris, wait till you see this." Because I know how Rob feels about the X-Men. Now, I know Rob also appreciates the history of comics and the history of this particular issue here. So when he showed that, I almost collapsed. I was just like, well, first of all, because it's a GSX one, but the fact that he's the one who picked it up. But yeah, as a Wolverine fan, it's and again, it's an iconic cover. It's such an important book to the history of comics as well.
And it allowed me, for what I paid for this book, instead of getting those 2 FF books, I was able to get this book, and I was able to go pick up a book that's not in my stack, surprisingly. Amazing Spider-Man 129.
129, yeah. Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, didn't make the cut.
I didn't want to blow the roast and spoil it for everyone, but yeah,
Yeah.
there's a first Punisher also in that
Yeah.
stack that he showed that particular morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Melissa
a
Summers, right?
convention, everyone. Like, you're missing
Yeah.
out if you don't go to Heroes. Yeah, because things happen at Heroes Con.
So it's first appearance of the new X-Men: Storm, Nightcrawler, Colossus, Thunderbird, and second full appearance of Wolverine.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Chris, is not a competition. What's your number 4 or 3?
No, it's not a competition, but this is a special book for different reasons.
Okay.
So now, Rob, I know that you're aware of the YouTuber Comics by Murdoch.
Yes.
And
Channel member.
Yes. And Chris is his real name. And Chris is a Canadian, and he's up here. And
Are
he's
all you Canadians named Chris?
Well, there's 11 of us, so I would say probably
Half.
1/3 our name. Well, yeah,
Okay.
easily 1/3. And it's just a question of if you pronounce it the French way or the English way. But now Comics by Murdoch is also a channel member on my channel, and I watch his programming when he releases stuff, and he also watches stuff that I put out. And I put out an AOK earlier this year. And then I mentioned that, now all I have to do is try and find Marvel Team Up 141, and I'll be all good when it comes to the Black Suit Spider-Man, because I also have the Secret Wars Black Suit cover in a 9/8. And a short while later, a box showed up, and I opened up the box, which was an AOK from Chris. And he okayed me Marvel Team Up, Spider-Man and Daredevil, issue 141, which ties with the first appearance of the Black Suit with the Amazing Spider-Man issue 252. And it was one of those moments that just kind of, knocks the wind out of you, because you would never expect someone to AOK something that's incredibly important to him, because he is the biggest Daredevil fan I know. And he sent a beautiful note, and he said something along the lines that this book might be better in your collection than mine. And I had the pleasure of running into Chris outside Fan Expo Toronto this past summer, so I actually got to shake the man's hand. So that was pretty damn cool. And to have this in my collection is not something that I expected, but I am so happy to have it. This is something that will This is something that's going to outlive me in my collection.
Nice.
It's something that's never going to go. Yeah. Marvel Team Up.
Read that left side. Go ahead, Chris.
The left side. It's a Tom
Right side.
DeFalco.
Right side.
Okay.
Sorry.
Right side.
See, I'm not. I am not as adept to this as you are, sir. This is why you get paid the big money as stipulated in your contract.
Ties with the Amazing Spider-Man 252 for the first appearance of the black costume, Daredevil and Black Widow appearance. So yeah, for those that don't notice, actually Widow was right here because I know all you see is Peter and perhaps Daredevil, but yeah, Widow was right here too.
Oh, true story.
So yeah, so thank you, Chris, again for this. Rob, what do you got?
All right, so number 3 on my top 10 acquisition list for the year. This book is a bit of a. It's one of. Thank you. Yeah, it's one of a couple grails that I picked up this year. When we talk about keys, there's major keys, there's little G grails, and there's big G grails. This is one of those little G grails. Big G grails being things like AF-15 and Superman 1 and Deck 27 and Action 1, etc., stuff like that.
Lottery wins.
But,
yeah,
exactly. But little G's are books that are of the utmost importance to you personally as a collector. And so I have 2 big passions when it comes to comic books. There's Spider-Man and there's sci-fi. Especially atomic age sci-fi. And well, everybody knows one of my biggest grails, of course, is in that category of the atomic age sci-fi. I've been working on my run of Mystery in Space, and just recently, a guest for someone who had been a guest on our show and is actually an upcoming returning guest had posted a book that was going to be up for sale. And that's this one, or was available for sale, Mystery in Space, issue number 1. This is a book that actually was just, if you go back and watch, it was just in the Overstreet Guide's top 10 list for sci-fi books. This book, so this first of all is like, this is a $1,400. This is a 4-figure book, okay?
Yeah.
In a 4 or 5. This was a book that the person who had it, he posted it, and it was up for sale because he was looking to upgrade. I was super. I made a comment. It's like, man, you're killing me. I really wish I could. Boom. And he's like, oh, hey, I'll do a payment plan or something. I said, I really wish I could, but the reality was we were coming. It was like October, and I said, we're going to be doing our Comics Curing Cancer here in a moment, and I'm going to have a big shipping bill, which I did. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not going to have liquidity for that type of a purchase until, maybe December at best. And he goes, well, I'll just put it aside. I'll take it down. I'll put it aside. I'm in no rush to sell it. Let me know. So I reached out to him in December and I said, hey, are you interested in doing this? After I talked to my wife and said, hey, honey, are we buying each other Christmas gifts? So my wife ended up paying about out of the Christmas gift fund, ended up paying about 70% of the cost of this book, and I paid the rest of it. And so, but I was able to pick up the book, add it to my collection, and cross off a major book in my collection that I needed to get in Mystery Space, issue number 1 from 1951, the first appearance of the Knights of the Galaxy.
Just incredible.
And look how much black. I mean, obviously, yeah, we got some stuff, here and stuff. It's a 4 or 5, but I mean, it's just boom. And hey, you want to get some Elky Dokie shoes? They're only $7.95. Get a pair.
Nowadays we just wear shoes that look like that to go golfing. Yeah, that's wow, that's an incredible book.
Even back then they did too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those wow books. I get it. It's just every time you look at it, wow, I can't believe that's in my collection. This is a wow book for me, but this book is, I think this book came out about 34 years later. This too is an A-OK, and it actually walks hand in hand with the last book. So this is the second book on my list, or I should say number 2. I shouldn't say second, but number 2 on my list. Actually, the story behind this is I went to a very small con, and I picked this book up in a lower grade after myself and Rob here were talking about it, and I picked it up and then promptly made a video saying that I finally had the Amazing Spider-Man 252 in my collection after being tired of seeing everyone show it on OnlySlabs and bragging about being a serious Spider-Man collector.
Actually, first we had been talking,
yes,
and you had made you'd made a comment that about how you didn't have this book yet, and I questioned you. I said, "Are you how do you not have this as a Spider-Man fan?"
Mm-hmm.
Then you went to a con.
I went to a con and I picked up. I think it may have been a 7.5 or an 8. Like a very respectable
grade.
Like
an 8. And it was like an 8. Yeah,
very very respectable grade. And then less than 2 weeks later, this showed up at my door, and this is an A-OK from this handsome fellow right here. This is an upgraded copy of the Amazing Spider-Man 252 in the black costume in a beautiful 9.0. So, Rob, I'll give you a little kiss. Thank you very much.
Wrong one.
Oh, God, Peter hit me.
Yeah.
Ow!
So, yeah. I love you, Rob. Thank you so much, Rob.
You got this one within a week of when you get together, because I had shipped it before your video posted, and because you had got in, because when you posted it or made some, I was like, "Oh, you son of a bitch!"
So
because it was in transit to you,
yeah.
and I was like, "Oh well," but this one,
there's a story like the third book. Which was a gift from Chris, Comics by Murdoch, that links to this because it walks hand in hand with the first appearance of the black costume. The next book that I'm going to show, my number 1 top book from 2023 that's graded, is a partial result of me letting that lower grade copy go at Heroes Con. But again, this just goes to show the friendship that Rob and I have, where I just mentioned in passing to Rob, I don't have the black costume. I think I need to get it. And Rob goes out and gets a copy and mails it to me. And a
then
fantastic.
He says, Rob, I don't have an AF-15 either.
I did. I said, Rob, I don't have an AF-15. But yeah, this is a 9.0 white pager. And again, it ties with Marvel Team Up 141. For the first appearance of the black costume, Amazing Fantasy 15 cover homage. And again, an iconic cover, regardless of the fact that it's an homage. So
as I recall on that one too, the bottom corner on one of those has a pressable defect on that one too. That
if I can get it to kind of, there it is.
Yeah.
So this may turn into a 9.2 if it went to the right
9.2. I honestly think that it's a 9.4, 9.6 if that presses out right.
And I know a friend of Rob's channel that might be able to help me out.
Scrolling across the bottom there, guys, and also what the hell? Let's just throw up the thing here as long as we're here real quick. I'll let you guys know, of course, if you're looking for a comic book press, you can check out the Rogue Trader at theroguetraderutah.com. Use the code FATSTAX at checkout to save 20% off your pressing, including already bundled and discounted packages on his website. When you use the code, $10 is donated to Comix Curing Cancer. Nothing comes back to me. I don't get a kickback or anything. It's just bam. All right, number 2 for me, the penultimate book. Let's just put it up.
Oh my God, Oh my! Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
woo, 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 woo,
That was for some weak ass
woo!
reviews.
Oh, son of a gun! Yeah,
A
I was
Heroes
there for
Con
this
pickup.
purchase too. I was
Yeah.
there for this.
Yeah. This was a Heroes Con pickup at the from Shortboxed at the Shortbox booth. We managed to work out a deal, score it. Gene was there. I made an offer. He had to go to Gene. I said, Gene, it's for me. Gene's like, oh, all right, yeah, we can do that. Let's do, because it was one of their books, and not that was when I saw it and the price they wanted for it. At first, I was, is this a consign ebook or is this your book?
Yes.
Because consign ebook, there's less space for them to do stuff with, where it was their book, which it was, made it super easy, or a little bit easier to get a deal done.
Right.
But to be able to pick up an Avenger, first appearance of the Avengers, I couldn't deny picking this up. And to be honest, it's why now I'm dead set on having to at some point pick up a Brave and the Bold first appearance of Justice League, because
Right.
I've got to have the 2 Super Team books.
Yeah. Well, you also got GSX, so yeah. Rob, read us
Well,
what's on the
that,
right
and
side
I
of
got
that
the
blue
Teen
label.
Titans, so you know it's like so origin and first appearance of the Avengers, and then of course appearances by Fantastic Four, Loki, and Teen Brigade.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
everybody forgets about Teen Brigade made an appearance in here.
If you're a Team Brigade collector, I got bad news about the price of your first appearance.
Yeah. So I say, can the combined powers of the Avengers defeat the sinister spells of Loki, god of evil? I don't think she think he was the god of evil. I'm pretty sure it's god of mischief.
Yeah.
But you know, well, superhero, super villain, super thrills presented in fabulous Marvel manner.
Yeah, and
It
looks good. It looks so good. Yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah.
Yeah. As far as a 2.0 goes, I can't ask for much more.
Well, no complaints. No complaints.
Low grade better than no grade, right?
Yep.
There you go, Chris. Number 1, your biggest or most important or whatever. What, pray tell?
This is the most important book that I picked up this year. And like I said, number 3 tied into number 2. Number 2, the story ties into this one. Like I mentioned just a moment ago, that I went and picked up a mid-grade copy of ASM 252. And Rob then in turn gifted me a higher grade copy, which I will hold on to forever because it's a gift from Rob. Well, I brought that book to Charlotte in hopes of working out a trade for something. To be honest, I was looking for the first appearance of Swamp Thing. Now that is, Rob, as you know, an expensive book, regardless of the book.
It's a spicy meatball.
Yeah. However, walking around, there was a smaller booth, and I was looking at this gentleman's wall books because he had a low grade Amazing Fantasy 15. This is not Amazing Fantasy 15.
Wait a second. How did I miss this?
I'm waiting for Rob to give me that book. But I ended up asking about this particular issue I have in my hand here and saying, will you be interested in working out a trade? And he looked at my ASM and looked up the value, and he looked at this. And I said, well, this is what I'm willing to pay for that book. And now what do you value my ASM at? So he gave me a number, and I thought it was fair. So I said, okay, I'm willing to put this amount of cash down to help make it work. And funny enough, Digger Jim and brother John were walking by at the time, saw me haggling a deal, and they in turn threw in like $20 towards the deal to make it work. Not that I needed the money, but thank you to Jim and John for contributing towards the Amazing Spider-Man annual issue number 1, the first.
Yeah! Yeah!
The first Sinister Six. Now, again, this is a low grade, just a 0.5 in a CBCS. I didn't go there thinking I was looking for the Amazing Spider-Man annual number 1, because as Rob, you know, I worked on 1 through 50, and I kind of thought, well, that's it. I'm done. I'm not chasing the annuals.
Right.
But because he had such a good value on this book and was willing to work out a trade and some cash, and that Digger Jim and Brother John tossed in some money towards it. Again, not that I needed the money, but just goes to show the kindness of this community. I now own the Amazing Spider-Man Annual #1 from Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, and I'm so happy to have this book in my collection. And for those that don't know, it's actually a thick book. It has a full spine. It is not your normal cover, or not your normal comic book. It's a square bound. It has 72 pages in it, and yeah, it's again 1964, but my goodness.
This one obviously presents very well. Is this a split spine or?
So I will read you everything that's here.
Yeah.
It says large piece missing from the 11th page that affects the story, so it's considered incomplete.
Got it. Okay, that's why it's a 0.5.
Yeah. So again, it's pretty clean in my opinion. Maybe a presser may be able to say, you know what, I could probably brighten up some of the yellow on it.
It's not going to change the grade.
But either way, it's still a 0.5. Yeah, it's still a 0.5. And
looks great.
For those that are curious, it is the first appearance of the Sinister Six, the X-Men, Fantastic Four, Iron Man, Giant Man, Thor, Captain America, Doctor Strange, and Wasp all have cameos in it, and it has 15 different pinups from the legendary Steve Ditko being penned by Stan Lee. So yeah,
that's a great book. Definitely. I mean, it was one of those books that I know that I've said the same thing for a while. It's like, I'm only collecting 1 through 100. I don't need it. Yeah. And then I started seeing a bunch of people get it, and Mad Spidey get it, and I was like, oh, I guess I need it.
Wormhole, I'm diving down ye.
Exactly. So it probably would have made my top. It probably would have normally made my top 10 list, except that this year was just a crazy year. And you'll notice that, I mean, so I started off this year. My main thing that I've been working on was that ASM 1 through 100 run. And I started off, my goal for this year was to pick up one of the books I needed for my run, because I was down to this, at that point, I was down to like a dozen books, and they were all, it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 13, 14, 15, right? It's like money books. And oddly enough, I mean, I managed to pick up the vast majority of them this year, including that #1. Matter of fact, hell, that is my honorable mention, guys. The books that didn't make the list were the annual, ASM annual, or ASM 2, ASM 4, 5, 6, 9, 13, 14, 15, and 129. All my honorable mention that normally should have made the list. But we did pick up Amazing Spider-Man #1.
Yeah, this is the best ever.
Welcome to the club, sir. Welcome to the club.
Yeah, so this was a book that again, not on my radar. I knew I would eventually need to get this book to go to the collection. But with 2 kids in college, tuition payment stuff, it wasn't on my radar for right now. And I happened to we were at Shortbox Live. They had they put on a convention themselves here in Santa Clara. And I was walking around looking at books, we're getting some book stuff, and I noticed 2 copies of ASM 1 at the top of one of the booths. This one in a 0.5, and then there was one like in a 2.5. And I'm looking up there, and it has price tag on it, so you can see it. And it was tagged at $3,500.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that seems low. And so I go on and I look up the book. Now, this is a pence variant.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, it's the UK variant, which some people argue actually was printed first, because they got printed in a smaller batch run and it had to get shipped over to the UK. So it would be there in time for the release date. So what does that mean? It's just a variant. But this book doesn't sell as often. So when you look up last solds as somebody in the booth who wasn't obviously the main person, they looked it up and they tagged it based off of what the last sold UK pence variant was, and it had been a while since one had sold at in this grade range. So they benefited from that low, because the US variant in a 0.5 at that time was selling for over 4.5. So basically it was $1,000 off. So I had to immediately walk away from the booth and call my wife and say, "Hey, honey, I'm thinking about doing something." And she, love her, she goes, "Am I talking you into or out of it?" I said, "Actually, in this case, neither. I just am about to spend a certain amount of money that I feel it's only fair that I talk to you about it first." And so we discussed it. She agreed that the price, that I'm probably not going to find a better deal. And so go ahead. If I was able to do it, go ahead. And so there we go. I mean, it's missing the back cover.
Okay, so that's why it's a 0.5.
Yeah, it's 0.5. It's
Yeah.
missing the back cover completely. Obviously, it has a lot of tape residue where somebody was trying to keep the back cover for a while, but back cover's gone. But I really don't care at this point because, you know, it's fucking ASM1, man.
Rob, will you do the people a kind service and read us what's on the right side of that important blue label?
It is the first appearance of J. Jonah Jameson and the Chameleon, and it is the first Fantastic Four crossover, the origin of Spider-Man retold. Yeah.
What should be on there is that it's the second appearance of the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't have it on there, but yeah, that's it. That's a holy grail right there in your hand. I don't care what anyone says.
It's
if you're
definitely,
a Spider-Man collector,
it's dirty, it's grimy, there's lots of tears, there's tape residue, everything.
You know what though? That book has seen the world, if you want to look at it from that way, because it's the Pence version, so you know it's crossed the water a couple times.
Right.
Yeah. But look at that. Our two big books are both 0.5s.
Yeah. And major Spider-Man keys.
Yeah.
There you go. How about you, Chris? Did you have an honorable mention?
The honorable mentions I wanted just to spotlight is just the one. It's a 9.8 facsimile of X-Men #1 that I actually picked up during Comix Curing Cancer. So that's the one that I wanted to spotlight. I know it's a facsimile and that kind of thing, but I was just happy to participate in Comix Curing Cancer this year, and that is one of the books that I'm proud to have in my collection now.
That's awesome. Well, that brings us to the end of this top 10 year in review, if we shall say. I really appreciate all of you who've been watching this with us, participating with us in the chat here. Want to let you know that next week we're back live, wrapping up the year, our year end, with Timo Hana will be in here to help us. We'll be making a return visit, and we'll be going through some more books from his collection.
Well, that's the third time on the show now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good old Richards.
Yeah. So anyways, so that's it, guys. Until next, have a happy holidays. Give your loved ones a hug. Make sure that, avoid talking politics for a few moments. And remember that, time is fleeting. But the spirit of the season is what's important. It's just having a good time with family. No matter what holiday you celebrate, or if you celebrate none of them, it doesn't really matter. It's still a great time to be with family. So Merry Christmas, Blessed Yule, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, all of anything else I'm not mentioning. Until next time, collect what you want. Don't listen to anybody, including me, or especially me. I'm just a fat man with a fat stack of comics and a fat opinion. Thanks for watching, guys.